one thing which I'm doing on the channel is I'm going through some of the SSR characters that I know of and just giving you guys an early look on how the characters are being built. So to anyone that is actually interested in the Soul, within the brand new Bleach game, yeah, this is kind of giving you guys a good idea on the SSRs and whatnot, like giving you guys an early build. As I've mentioned, of course, there is a closed beta soon to be announced. Still some time left, but soon to be announced. That's all I'll say on that part. And yeah, we'll see on what changes up and whatnot. So the next SSR, because we've looked into Ichigo, the Hollow Transformation Ichigo, we've looked into the Kenpachi. I'll make a playlist to anyone who does want to look into and how these characters are being built. We're now going to be looking into another SSR being called of Urahara, of course. So we'll dive straight in, not wasting any time. He doesn't have a passive, so that's something that could very well get added in at a later stage. But yeah, within this build there was no passive for him, so we'll dive on with the skill. Portable Giga. So Urahara takes out a magical item that looks like a balloon and blows into it, then uses his this identical Giga as a proxy to continuously attract the surrounding enemies, dealing 295% damage in total. When Giga explodes, it imprisons the enemy hit for 5 seconds. So for whatever reason, my mind is like, this is kind of like a monkey bomb from Zombies. I don't know why that's well, technically that's kind of what it is. So basically, he kind of blows up a balloon, does a bit of shadow cloning. It turns out to be obviously a balloon form of Urahara, and it kind of attracts the enemy to it, which is a pretty nice, you know, if there's multiple enemies, it's a nice little AoE damage dealer right there. Not too sure how this is going to work in a PvP perspective. I do believe that maybe mine needs to be changed up, because of course I don't see, I mean, well then again, they could potentially make it so that the hit marker may follow to the clone, which will then give you a chance to maybe make your way in, right? That could be a thing, I'm not too sure. So now getting into Urahara's ultimate skill, Senju Koten Taho. Urahara quickly chants the spell of Hado 91, gathers 8 powerful Ryoku bombs around him and unleashes them in turn at the direction of the enemy, dealing a total of 440% damage. Each Ryoku bomb will add a stack of Koten Taho mark to the enemy when hits. And pretty much what that is each stack of Koten Taho mark can reduce the enemy's all stat resistance by 16%, lasting for 20 seconds, and can stack up to 2 layers. I believe the trigger effect says 33%. So that ultimate is actually pretty handy, but overall that is pretty much how the ultimate will be working. Moving over now to the normal attack for Urahara. So with his normal attack, just base normal attack, Urahara swings Crimson Princess while using Hakuda, dealing up to 5 rounds of 310 damage in total to the enemy. And then when it comes to the branch of the normal attack, all of Urahara's attack can increase his own Ryoku when his Ryoku is higher than 50. Immediately hold a normal attack button after releasing any attack, and Urahara will gather his Ryoku on Crimson Princess and unleash a razor-like Ryatsu slash, dealing 2 rounds of damage for a total of 84% damage to the enemy in front. This attack consumes 50 points of Ryoku. Now, I will admit, this attack does give me Shanks vibes, and again, when the time comes, you guys will see what I'm talking about. So it's pretty cool. And then obviously going into the block, fairly simple. I mean, it's all kind of the same, to be honest, for the most part, for all characters with evasion and block. So Urahara turns Ryatsu into a blood mist shield to withstand the enemy's attack. After that, countless red beams will shoot out from the surface of the blood mist shield towards the enemy, dealing 252% damage and increasing Urahara's Ryoku by 36 points. And then lastly, evasion, fairly simple. When an enemy attacks or is about to hit you, you can seize the right timing and just evade. So now we're moving over to Urahara's dupe system. So once you get the 3rd dupe on him, the mystery is unlocked. So when the imprisonment of Bakudu 4 Hainawa ends, 1 stack of spirit particle analysis are applied to the imprisoned enemy right there. And then moving along to the next dupe being the 6th dupe, increasing the imprisonment duration of Bakuto 4 Hainawa by 3 seconds. And then lastly, once you get him maxed out, of course, Crimson Princess Scream. When releasing the ultimate skill Senju Koten Taho, to apply the Koten Taho mark that reduces all attribute resistance to the enemy, it also applies a Senju barrier to all characters in the team. Senju barrier, basically each stack of Senju barrier reduces the damage received by the characters by 10%. This effect is determined by the number of Koten Taho mark applied to the enemy, lasting for 20 seconds and can be stacked up by 2 layers. So that's Urahara in a nutshell on how they're building him up. Like I said, unfortunately I didn't experience too much with him. I realistically only played training mode with him, and by the time I actually did unlock the character, things were coming to an end, of course, with my playtime. So I just tried my best to briefly get a good understanding. But you know, there are certain movesets giving me that strength vibe, I will say. But you know, dropping the enemy's resistance, that's also pretty clutch, pretty handy to have. That can get stacked up pretty nicely. His moveset overall was pretty simplistic compared to all the other SSRs that were available currently in the Bleach game. Of course, I would say Urahara was 100% the most easiest to pick up and very, very simplistic compared to the others. So there wasn't really much to him. So I mean, could they add more? Of course. I'm surprised he didn't have a passive. I think he's the only SSR out of everyone that didn't actually have a passive, so I'm curious to see on how that's going to work, of course. But I will say, having Urahara on the team, allowing you, or being able to do more damage to the enemy, it's pretty nice to have. I'm not too sure on how confident he will be for PvP. PvE wise, a nice little support unit for your team, I will say that. No doubt in my mind on that part. But if we're going into PvP, like real-time PvP, that type of stuff, I don't think he's going to cut it from what I've seen. But like I said, with the character builds, with all the characters, he does feel a bit empty compared to, you know, everyone else having like a lot of things to them. So I truly do believe Urahara is slightly unfinished.